Hello, everybody. Hey, Arrow, how's it going? Long time no see. Hopefully, you grabbed a coffee and something to eat. Good morning, BJ Hunting. How's it going? I grabbed one of the lemon cranberry muffins that I got at the grocery store for 30% off. They're still quite moist. And yummy. I just got notification just a short while ago. Um, I was going to meet up with Angie today and do a live stream at Hazeldean again, but she's not feeling well this morning, so we're going to try and postpone it to another day before her shift. So we'll do it one other day in the morning. Plus, um, but that's okay. My allergies are going crazy. So we'll get together one day this week, maybe Wednesday, because I'll be in her area anyways. Coffee. And so today in Ottawa, all the English public and Catholic school boards are closed. This is a first since the ice storm of 1998. Because of the tornadoes, they had two tornadoes that landed here. One in Dunrobin, one in in the West End near me. Actually, they're both about 5 minute drive from my house. 5-10 minute drive. One this way, 5 minutes, and one this way, about 10 minutes. And it hit down in Craig Henry area. But it also hit where the board offices are, so there's no power there either. So they just shut down all the schools because the teachers live wherever. There's still roads that you can't go on. The police have barricaded them because of the debris and the live wires. Um, so even though the ones in the East End, they weren't affected by the um, tornadoes, or in the or mostly downtown. There was some damage downtown, but not a lot. They closed down all the schools because this happened on a Friday night, that they really didn't have staff to assess each of the schools, um, to make sure that they have A, power, B, that they're stable, like, and they weren't in the path of the tornado, and didn't have like debris or from other people's stuff in the yard. So they just closed them all down. Our My kid's school is perfectly fine, um, but they bus a lot of kids from Dunrobin, and even from I don't know if they'll bus from that by Craig Henry, but I do know from Dunrobin that they bus kids in. So they would have to cancel buses or um, give the kids different routes, because even those ones, they haven't been able to get into their houses. They haven't been able to go on their street. They've been all evacuated. So they've been not replaced, displaced somewhere, like in hotel rooms or with friends, family. So just getting to school. And also the police have suggested for all the federal government workers, since that's the major employer in Ottawa, that they stay at home and do a telework, because the traffic will be excessive, and they're trying to make there be less people on the road. Then um, that way the cleanup crews can come and do a lot of the cleanup. So it's very This is the first time ever that tornadoes have ever hit Ottawa area. They've hit around the area, um, about 20 minutes out of town. Like they've hit Manotick and Petawawa, um, uh, Pakenham, and Elmer, like 20 minutes in the air, but never hit Ottawa. It's the first time, like, because Dunrobin is still technically Ottawa, just like a little bit west of us, west and north of us, and they hit inside the west end of Ottawa, Bell's Corners to Hunt Club area. Very, very scary. Your daughter's school is closed. Well, reviewing, playing. They are without power. See, my daughter's school has power, but a lot of the schools, like, they can't really even assess it, to, um, like, on the weekend, because it's the weekend, right? So they have to assess to make sure, A, do they have power? If they have no power, school, that school, one particular school is closed. The reason why the ones in the East End were closed is because both boards, both the Catholic board and the public board, their head offices, there's no power in them. So even if there was an emergency at that school, it gets funneled through the board office to go to all the parents and stuff like that. So they just closed it for just keeping people off the road. Send you. Oh, you're good. Yes, please send me a picture of your fridge. This concept of an empty fridge is completely foreign to me. I don't know this concept. And don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, because you're over in Stittsville, so you're even closer to where the tornadoes hit. We were very fortunate and very lucky. We were only out of power for um, under 10 hours. Oh, Arrow, that's funny. Um, but my friends who live just on the other side of the street, like the major street of Katimavik, they didn't get power until Sunday morning. That's like, I could walk 50, 100 steps away and they wouldn't have power. So we're very lucky. Yeah. Well, in front of my house, if you've seen some of my videos, there's a big, huge maple tree. If that tree fell on our house, that would take out the whole upper floor. You know, my backyard, the neighbor's tree behind us might take out our house too if it ever fell. But we didn't even have a lot of debris in our yard or anything like that. We had lots of like paper. Like I think some people's recycling bins were out or that because there was a lot of paper. Hi, Maniac Granny. Hello. I know. Grab a muffin or a croissant. So my kids have a day off school, and hubby has a day off work. So I was going to do a live stream with Angie, but she's not feeling well. So you got me today. Well, I'm going to get together with her another day this week. Yeah, hey, Brad, how's your dad doing? Reviewing, playing. You didn't lose power at all in Stittsville? Oh, that's good to hear, Brad, that he's home. Does he live on his own, Brad, or does he live in a retirement home? No. Okay. Is Jen your wife? Well, that's good. Okay. Well, tell her she has a wonderful name. Oh yeah, don't forget to share the love and support one another. Maniac Granny, have you been doing a lot of canning lately? I've done canning of corn relish. That video will be up whenever I get around to editing it. I just put up a recipe video up today. I got contacted by 21st Century Mom to do a collab with her and to do a frugal meal, so we chose like under $10 meal. So her video should be up today too. But it was, I did that recipe last week. No, week and a half ago, whenever it was on the menu. But it took till yesterday to edit it. But it's really cheap and really good. And like we had leftovers, so Abby had leftovers for lunch 2 days, and I think for breakfast a day or two, because she really loved it. They picked. Hey Google, what's the weather this week? Speaking of frost, I should check
Today
that out.
in Ottawa, it'll be sunny with a forecasted high of 15 and a low of 7. Tomorrow, it'll be rainy with a high of 16 and a low of 16. Wednesday, there'll be thunderstorms with a high of 23 Friday, then be in the mid-teens on Saturday.
So I hope that we don't get frost, because I picked a bunch of cherry tomatoes again from my garden plot, plus got some tomatoes from my garden here. I'll show you those. Not very big, but we got like. But the ones on my garden plot at the church, they're huge, but they're green. Like they're bigger than this, but they're still green. My beans that are there are bush beans that are to be dried to use as like a bean, like a kidney bean. So I'm waiting for those to dry on the vine. And I have hot peppers there. At least 10, 8 or 10 that are done. Um, so I'll be making a hot sauce for in the fridge. And then I have onions, and I have some kohlrabi, which is like an Asian white radish. I don't know. I have to pick those. Like they're root vegetables. I have no idea. I've never grown them before, but I grew it from seed. I have some lettuce. So I think this week I'm going to try and empty out all of the cherry tomato plants and getting all the tomatoes off, because they're just like falling all over and covering stuff, and trying to do a bit of cleaning out of the garden, because it's not a lot to be canning with, but just to be eating, as we've had a lot of cherry tomato like caprese salads. So the bocchini or bocchini cheese, like the little white balls of cheese, and cherry tomatoes and basil and salt, pepper, and balsamic vinegar and olive oil. Got you a picture. Well, Amanda, you gotta get on Facebook uh, or do a video I like watching people's stuff. I just went to the store yesterday. Oh my goodness. Where's... I'll go check. Yeah, but you could have you could set up your Facebook as private and just have friends or family that you like or want to be connected with. Um, oh, there we go. Fridge. Yeah, that's very empty. Here, I'll turn around and see. This is Amanda's fridge. I see parts of shelf. Why is your coffee in the fridge? Your coffee doesn't need to be in the fridge. In a big jug of water. Yeah, but I don't have 2 cups. That is pretty empty. And that's after doing groceries. I don't see much Jenga-ing going on. My in-laws' fridge is like that too. Like there's lots of half-empty shelves. Like there's like, a few things on this shelf. I mean, it's easier to find stuff, but then it's like, I look at it and it's like, it gives me, it gives me anxiety. Hubby put the coffee in there. Yeah, unless you don't drink coffee often, you don't need to put it in the fridge. Just put it in the cupboard. Because if you don't, like, I have a friend who doesn't drink coffee at all, and she only has coffee available for when she has somebody over that drinks coffee. Um, she gave up coffee like years ago. She keeps her stuff in the freezer because, like, it literally she takes it out like once a month, maybe. So, but otherwise, it could just change because coffee has oils in it, and in the fridge it sometimes changes the taste of the coffee, and it might turn the coffee more bitter. You don't make it at home every day, just on the weekends. Well, you see, you should make it at home every day and bring it in a travel thermos so you don't have to pick up coffee at the store. Backstory: stepped away to give my daughter the car, but I get a French vanilla from the from Tim Hortons. Oh, it's free at work for both of us. Well, that's good too. Free is good. If I don't know, if I drove, I'd like to have coffee in the car while I'm driving. Back when I was working, one of my favorite little treats that I would get was the French vanilla or the English toffee at Tim Hortons. Yep, and cream and all that good stuff. Well, yeah, that's why I have cream at home. Actually, no, wherever I worked, coffee was never free, except for when I worked at Rock and Johnny's as a hostess. I could get free coffee there because I got free coffee and free pop, and I got my meal of a certain amount of meals, like certain ones I wasn't allowed to get at 50% off. Like I wasn't allowed to get the steak at 50% off, but I can get like the smoked meat platter or Reuben. Those two are my favorites to get at 50% off. Break room, and they stock the coffee and soda. Wow. I seem to spill it. Hee hee. Yes, I always swear that I have like a hole in my bottom lip here that I dribble somehow. I'm like, yeah, this is one reason why I would never get like a lip piercing, because I already dribble. There's an imaginary hole that when I'm drinking coffee, especially if I'm wearing anything white, I'm going to spill coffee. That's why I don't wear white. I like to wear patterns. It hides the coffee stains better. You aren't supposed to drink the... Ah, yes. I have light colored pants on today too. Yeah, what's with light colored pants? I mean, beige. Oh, I don't wear those either. I have, but not often. I have one pair of beige pants. I prefer black or or jeans. Yeah, yesterday went to my in-laws for supper. We had lasagna, yum yum yum, with garlic bread and Caesar salad. My black ones are dirty, and we can only wear jeans on Fridays. It was very yummy. I didn't have to cook. Yeah, I'm gonna make the menu plan for this week today. I did a bunch of prep cooking. What was funny, the hilarious thing was Friday I did a lot of cooking from the fridge to put it into the freezer or the fridge for this coming week. Like I cooked up the ground beef, I cooked up some lamb burgers, and oh no no, it was Friday, it was Thursday and Friday, and I did a bunch of things like some chicken nuggets. They didn't fit in my freezer, so I had defrosted them and I had cooked them to make buffalo chicken wraps and stuff. So this weekend was not a lot of cooking. It was a lot of like reheating, and I still have stuff for this week. Um, Abby wanted me to pick up a brisket. I did groceries, so I did, because we had the extra money from the previous uh, week. Plus, I didn't even use all my grocery money this past week either. But usually, but brisket wasn't necessarily on sale. It was like $5.99 a pound, which is about the going rate. But we've been watching a lot of cooking shows, and one of them had a big brisket. Lamb curry tonight, probably beef brisket someday, and something with ground beef. Good morning, Benny's Tropical Swimming Wolf. Is it? Now I'm just refreshing. There we go. Yay! So I'm gonna make lamb curry. Gonna make beef brisket. Something with ground beef, probably dirty rice and or um, spaghetti. So that's probably four. That's four things. Oh, and I have another a fresh pasta. I got at Costco, so might make that too. I have that's just the stuff that's in my fridge freezer that I did up yesterday. Yes, Steve, you're late. Welcome back. Welcome. Um, plans for at least four things. I have to go. Oh! I know what I'm gonna make. I'm gonna make alpino popper soup this week. I made loaded baked potato soup last week. I still have one bowl of leftover. It was, oh my god, so good and super cheap. I'm gonna make a jalapeno popper soup. I've seen recipes for it, and it looks to die for. You just got notified. Did you just wake up? Oh, it's probably me coming back. Yeah, Rosie's not here yet. I even texted her. I know. I forgot to hit the thumbs up. Yeah, with the tornado that hit here, the damage in various areas of our city has been like crazy. We've never seen this, like, since like the ice storm of '98. So, um, what's funny, what's weird is like even our local, we've ran out of gas in our area, that people have to drive a bit further to get gas because, and some of the gas stations don't have electricity, so the machines are down, so people have to pay cash, and nobody seems to have cash. um, our Walmart, like a bunch of our grocery stores were out of power, and then they came back. But even when they came back and they got a whole bunch of food in, like Walmart was out of like bread and dairy and meat and a whole bunch, like even their fresh food, like their fresh veggies. Were all, I'm like, what did everybody do? Just like go and stock up on like everything? And like it wasn't that bad. Like what? Like even if we lost power and we got it back, you know, and on toilet paper, like everybody has this need for excessive amounts of toilet paper, or why don't they have these type of things at home? Enough of it at home. Because I was filled up on Friday before everything happened. Yes. Well, I had done groceries on Wednesday before it all happened, but even then, even if I didn't pick up groceries, all that I would really need would be toilet paper because we're running low-ish. Everything else we would have. Now, if we had lost power longer and we lost some of the food in the fridge, and that, I would have picked up ice and kept it fresh. But it's just like crazy. I'm like, people being excessive amounts of stuff. It's like the tornado has already passed. Like, it's already gone. After a storm, hopefully everything is going well now. Well, this is after the storm, so this wasn't even before the storm. Well, see, this was the thing, was almost everybody I know did not take the tornado warning seriously, because we've had a tornado warning here a couple times in in the past couple of years, and it never turned out to anything other than there has been some wind damage or roof shingles or fences blown and stuff, but nothing nothing major. And the last tornado warning I googled, and we had never in the Ottawa area ever in 150 years of them recording tornadoes ever had a tornado land in Ottawa. They've had it land in Manotick and Pembroke and Peterborough and Elmer, so about like 20-30 minutes out of town. So never really took it that seriously. And Abby's going downstairs. Rowan was still sick upstairs, and I'm like, okay, I convinced her to go downstairs. I was still cooking. I was just cooking supper, and I went out and took that video of the rain. And I'm like, okay, this is getting kind of serious. But I never went downstairs. I was still cooking supper. um, but it was after the fact of seeing all the damage everywhere. Like, it's like crazy. Like, houses gone. Like, our major hydro station is gone. Like, all that's standing is a couple poles. And this is where the Ottawa, the Hydro One power comes into Ottawa, so one of our two major power stations is gone. They're having to rebuild it and relink it. So that's why there's still power out in a lot of Ottawa today. Today, and lost everything in the freezer. Yeah, with the stuff in the fridge and in the freezer, freezer would last at least 36, 48 hours if you keep it closed. If you cover it with like blankets and stuff, we were lucky. And if in your fridge you put ice, bags of ice in there, keep things cold. But yeah, even with that, like hopefully this is the thing that I'm saying is that people have house insurance that will cover it, but you need to, I think, I've never had to claim house insurance, but I think you have to purchase the food and then submit it to insurance and they will reimburse you. And the hardest hits, like the most damage was in Dunrobin, like houses are gone, like gone. There's no house. Um, there's lots of damage in Craig Henry and down Maryville. That there's parts of houses gone, and lots of roofs, lots of second floors gone, lots of damage, lots of live wires. But in Craig Henry, the difference between Craig Henry and Dunrobin is a lot of like families. People own their own homes. People have usually paid off the homes. They usually, have decent jobs and stuff. Craig Henry is a lot of older homes, like 60, 70-year-old older homes, that there's lots of seniors in there, as well as there's a lot of lower income families because there's lots of rent geared to income townhouses there. Well, hopefully they have tenant insurance to cover their stuff, but even then, fighting for that, I think you have to replace the stuff and get reimbursed. They don't, a lot of the people that in the Craig Henry area might not have the disposable income or the access to income to replenish it. So when they're going to be displaced, everybody's being displaced. But even then, if they're renting, that place needs to be finished, and they need to. Uh, they might have to be rebuilt. We are in Ottawa. We're in a crisis of lower income housing. Like the housing for rentals is expensive everywhere. You know, and so these people are going to have difficulty finding another place to rent in the meantime of that place being fixed. Now, if they own their own home, same thing, renting another place. The good thing is, like, the wonderful thing about Ottawa and about what's happening is there's so many people that are taking their time out and going to volunteer. So many people fundraising and accessing, like, collecting food, collecting clothing, helping each individual family that's being affected by it, that it's just so heartwarming, and um, it makes me feel proud to be a Canadian. I remember when I was a kid in the huge ice storm. Yeah, we had the huge ice storm of '98. A lot of people had no power for like a month. We were lucky. We didn't have power for um, 3 days, but since it was winter time, I just put all the stuff in the freezer into coolers and put them outside. And the stuff was in the fridge. I just kept on putting ice in the fridge to keep it cold. It was 87. Yes, rent here is so expensive. Like in my area, somebody was asking on the mama group in my area, asking about renting a townhouse here for $1,700 plus utilities. I'm like, good luck with that. Not renting a townhouse or a house. I'm like, I think they said house. I'm like, you can get like some townhouses, maybe for $1,600, $1,700. There's some lower income ones, but those are usually like snapped up fast. Because they're older units and stuff like that, and you can maybe get them about $1,200 plus utilities. You know, it's cheaper to buy a house and pay the mortgage than it is to rent. But people don't have money to buy a house, you know? And like it's not uncommon to see houses or even townhouses like the executive, like they're large townhouses. Like mine's a fairly large townhouse. It's I think 1,700 square feet, not including the basement. And places like this are rented for about $1,600 a month plus utilities. Um, but I've seen ones like this for like 2,000 a month, depending on where it's located. $400 less than exactly like we bought when we bought this house. We were renting by Bayshore, and at the time it was 1250. When we bought this house with our mortgage at that time was under $1,200. Now we still had, and plus utilities, and then we still had like water and other tax. But now since we've refinanced our mortgage, it's been more than 10 years. It's even less than that. So it's like it's not that bad. Now utilities have gone up, but and taxes have gone up, and our house is worth more than what we paid for it, which is good. But you know, I have friends who rent. I have friends who rent like townhouses like this because they can't afford to purchase, and the rent just keeps on going up and up. Um, but yeah, and like even in, like from where we are, Kanata, if you go to Stittsville, prices are even more expensive because it's a lot of newer places, like brand new modern, and people pay like a lot for the modern look. Like our place was built in '88. Okay, I have pink freaking carpet and pink countertops in our bathrooms. I used to have pink countertops in my kitchen too until we renovated. It was dusty rose. It's disgusting. I hate pink. If you know me well, you know how much I love pink. Not at all. Hard to buy an average price increase of home has gone. Yep, and we when we bought our house, we did because it was our first house. We only had to put down 5% down or something. I mean, we paid a bit more than 5%, but um, that's the only way we could have gotten the house unless we got money from loan or from family. You lost the contract. Exactly. Like even if you have insurance that covers your house and your belongings, it's all the extra stuff. Like finding a new place and stuff to live, and because the amount that covers it is not to rebuild and stuff. Like it's costs more than what is worth sometimes. 400 and then yeah, no, we saved like so when we were renting at Bayshore, which smaller townhouses. At the time, it wasn't a low like some of the houses were under rent geared to income or low income. Like that wasn't a project per se, but wasn't you know a great family neighborhood. Like the projects were all around there, so we're like we had a young family. We moved there when Rowan was 9 months old. Then we had Abby, and then we moved out of there when Abby was 9 months old and moved here. Hey, raised tribe, how's it going? So, and they were going to raise the rent to 13 something a month. Some people were still rebuilding from last year's hurricanes, and they got hit again. Then they even fully re back on their feet, you know. So, grab your coffee. Yeah, I'm just so thankful that our emergency services, as well as our hydroelectrical employees are doing such a great job trying to get everybody back on power. I mean, that storm was nothing we've ever seen before. And there's some people that are like some people lost stuff in their fridge and freezer. Some people couldn't afford losing the stuff in the fridge or freezer, and replacing that stuff. Some people lost like their livelihood. There's like in Dunrobin, there's a couple, like there's a whole little strip mall thing. The stores are like demolished, So there's a little convenience store, ice cream shop, all these things gone. Like the people who own those businesses are so, like their livelihood, not only, and they probably live in the area too, so their homes are probably affected as well as their livelihood, you know. Backed up to 40 acres woods. Power went out all the time. Well, what's funny, so where our area is, it's kind of unique. We usually, if we're going to lose power, it's going to be a nice sunny day. When there's usually a bad rainstorm, people lose power around us, but we tend to keep power on. And then after they get power back on, we lose power. Like I think this the wirings wherever our station is that we're connected to, because my in-laws never lost power. They might have flicker lights, and they're a year, never